I'm Dave Beddoe. I'm 48 years old and I live in Paulsbo, Washington. I am 10 years clean, November of 2017. I was just trying to deal with life, had a new job. I was working at a college. I was the campus activity director who had this job where I'm supposed to be leading people, working long hours, working weird hours, newly married. We were expecting our first child. The first pill I took was 1991, and I had gone to the doctor for a migraine, and he gave me Fiorinol with codeine. I took it and went back to bed and slept like a baby for hours, woke up refreshed with no pain, and felt energized and relaxed, and it was magic. So I would take them more and more often anytime I felt like I had something that might be stressful, and then, of course, all of life begins to look stressful. Within a couple of years, by the time I was 24, I was definitely addicted to the narcotics. Doctors that I started going to started to catch on. Go to a different doctor who doesn't know me, or maybe an urgent care clinic or an emergency room. I would leave for the day for work and then spend the rest of the day trying to remember which doctor I hadn't gone to try and scam some pills out of them. I had known I had a problem, and I would get caught, usually by Deb, about every 6 months. Usually she'd find I'd spent money on pills when I said I wasn't. Or a doctor would call the house and say, ask some question, and I'd be caught. So I had at times kind of taken little tiny steps, but usually never with a full disclosure. The last pill I took was Ultram, and the executive vice president and the vice president of the ministry that I was working for said they wanted to meet with me, and I knew they were coming because I had been caught. So I was stressed and I was nervous, and I decided to deal with stress and nervousness the only way that I knew how, which was to take a pill. The irony was palpable. The thing that was getting me in trouble and was going to end my ministry was the thing that I turned to in that moment rather than God or anything else that I knew. So in one fell swoop, one afternoon, I hit rock bottom. I lost my job. I lost my ministry. I lost the home. We lived on site at the camp. I thought maybe I would lose my family and my friends and my prestige and the stuff I had been living on. Trying to manage it and trying to keep it hidden was the real problem. And once it was exposed, that was the rock bottom. The turnaround came when the response from most of the people, not everybody, but most people were really gracious and wanted to see me get help and wanted to see me get clean and wanted to see success. And people were mad and people were hurt, but they wanted to offer grace. There at my worst, when I was a lying, drug-stealing addict, the people around me were exhibiting that kind of grace, that they still love me anyway. And I don't know if I ever really believed that God really loved me anyway, even if I was a horrible person. And that was this breakthrough that, like, maybe there was a chance. I could change and God could change me. Why is making amends an important part of the recovery process? Well, it has to do with coming clean. It was really important for me to not only tell people I was sorry and ask forgiveness, but to do that in a non-manipulative way. I had used asking for forgiveness as a manipulation technique often, especially with my wife. When I'd get caught, I would be really sorry and hope she didn't know the full extent of it. And then she loved me, so she'd feel bad for me and she'd forgive me, and then I could go on keeping some secrets. So making amends is really important to clean out the muck that you've created. So how can you find hope as an addict when you think there's no hope? In the middle of that moment when you realize that you can't do it on your own and that you've kind of made a shambles of your life, rather than turning to the route of, I'm incapable of fixing this, realizing that we have a God who loves you, who wants to help you fix it. Usually he'll put people who want to help and be his hands and feet in your life. There are churches everywhere. There are 12-step groups everywhere. There are counselors everywhere who have a passion and a willingness to be part of that process. So sometimes just seeing it in some human's eyes is a pretty amazing thing. When there's somebody else who needs that help, there's stuff that I can speak that somebody who hasn't been an addict, who hasn't been in recovery, can't speak to. To be able to help somebody else means they're helping me, that we're going through it, offering a glimpse of what the future can be like for somebody who's in the middle of it. It's a journey. You don't just decide today and you're fixed. I relapsed 7 times hard. Like I thought, everything is great, I'm not going to use again, I'm forgiven and I'm clean, and then something would come up and I would be tempted and I would fail. And not that relapse is okay, but it's a normal part of the process. And if you relapse, don't give up. Go back to your meeting, go back to your safe people, confess it, make amends, and keep going. I'm at a place now where not only can I say I've been clean for a long time, but have been given the opportunity to work with other people who are struggling and who want to get clean. Work in a church that accepts me where I'm at, because everyone knows I'm the guy who is an addict, a recovering addict. It's tough, it's terrifying when you've got all this grossness that you've been hiding for so long. That pain dies in the light and it thrives in the darkness. Finding one person you trust and share that with them, that becomes helpful. It might be a hard path to get there, but you're loved by God, who wants something better for you.